Welcome to the Bellingham Select Board meeting for December 15th, 2025. We're getting a little bit of a late start, just some technological issues. If you can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I'm going to start out of order briefly to get something done that's a pretty quick. We're going to address the Tavern on the Square amendment for manager on record. Oh, the Tavern on the Square. You're right there, sir. How are you? So go ahead and say whatever you need to say, sir.
How you doing? This is Stephen D'Souza. I'm the CEO of Tavern Square. We're applying for a change of manager to Andrew Kelly prior to our new opening that will be happening this January.
All right. Mr. Kelly, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
And looking forward to your restaurant opening up.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to get in the community and get started here.
All right. Does anybody on the board have any questions for Mr. D'Souza or Mr. Kelly?
No.
All right. Do I have a motion to?
There's a motion right there.
There's a motion right here, Tavern motion. Does anybody want to make the motion?
Make a motion to approve the change in manager for the Tavern on the Square, located on Hartford Avenue in Bellingham.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. All set, Mr.
Thank
D'Souza,
you.
Mr. Kelly, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
All right, moving on. We are now going to do the joint, yep, I'm trying to look for the motion for the joint meeting with the Bellingham Planning Board. Mr. Chair, do you want to open your meeting?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to open the planning board meeting tonight, and if I could have a second from a member of the board.
I'll second that.
Made by Phil, seconded by Phil, and take a vote.
Steve, I. Bill, I.
Where's I?
Phil, aye. Planning board is open.
All right. Mr. Sullivan,
Yeah, how's it going, Patrick?
Patrick, come on up,
I'm
sir.
gonna sit right up here.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, front and center.
In the hot seat.
You want me to talk into the
Yeah,
microphone?
we're trying a new microphone, so I wanna.
Yeah, whatever you wanna do.
Okay. Nice on. So,
Yeah, good.
thank you.
Sullivan?
Yeah, how are you?
How are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Why are you interested in becoming an associate member of the planning board?
Yeah, so Patrick Sullivan, I've been living in Bellingham since August of 2020. Actually, if you go right down here, take a left on Taunton Street. My wife and my daughter and myself are right on Donna Road. So my wife and I have been talking. We're probably gonna be staying in the town of Bellingham. We're gonna be raising our kids here, and I just want to, be a part of town and be a part of the community and know what's going on.
Anybody in the flex have anything for Mr. Sullivan?
Mr. Sullivan, how did you hear about the position?
I went on the town website, town of Bellingham website, probably a month ago. It looked like you guys had a few positions that were open. So I decided to apply for this one, and I got in touch with Hillary.
Well, why this one?
So I've been, the planning board and the zoning board kind of both appealed to me. Been in construction for the last 14 years, with Eversource, with Johnson Controls. And it's just something that I'm interested in.
Great, thank you. What is your daily duties? What do you do for work? You're an engineer, I see, by trade.
Yeah,
What do
so
you do for work?
So I'm a project manager at Johnson Controls in the fire sprinkler department. And I've been there for only 2 months now.
What do you do prior to Johnson Controls?
Prior to that, I was a operations manager at Amazon. I did that for 1.5 years. Prior to that, I was a supervisor in gas ops for Eversource. I did that probably for almost 11 years.
Right. No more questions for me, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Me here, me here.
No,
Thank you for stepping up.
Mr. Chair.
Any questions from the planning board? Steve, any questions?
No.
Bill?
Yes, sir, I have a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
Your background,
Yes.
how do you think it will mesh with what the planning board does?
So I think it will mesh pretty well. I've done a lot of research on kind of what the planning board does. I've looked at a lot of the bylaws in the town of Bellingham, specifically, chapter 240, with zoning, and I think it'd be a good match.
Okay. Second question is, we try to reserve ourselves to as much as we can with, social media.
Yep.
Is that a concern to you?
That is not a concern to me. I do have social media, but I do not post on it.
And lastly, I doubt this could change your mind. You should be aware the last person who was an alternate with an engineering background
Yeah.
that applied for this position ended up being the town planner.
Don't do it. Get out now.
Just thought I would let you know.
I did believe I looked at Rob on LinkedIn, and both him and I are both Wildcats. From the University of New Hampshire, so.
That's my question.
All
Sold.
right, thank you.
Liz?
Yeah, so it sounds like you've done your due diligence on the board and the town. Maybe if you have any comments on recent developments in town. Have you been following the projects that's come before us and been built in the last several years?
So that's definitely a fair question, and to be honest with you, I have not been following a lot of what's happened in the past. That's kind of why I want to be on the planning board, is so I know what's going on and I have a better feel for, the decisions that are being made in the town.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Let me go a little further on that. Have you had a chance to watch some of the planning board meetings online?
Only recently, after speaking with Hillary, she advised me that it'd probably be a good idea to do that. So I've seen, maybe 2 or 3 meetings, but other than that, I have not.
2 or 3 meetings, thank you.
Yeah.
Another question, one that I ask when it comes up, do you live near any current projects that are going on? Or have, a situation where you might have to recuse yourself for employment or something else in the future that you might know about now?
I have not, no.
Okay. Another question that I was asked, I served as the associate for 2 years.
Okay, great.
So another question that I was asked at the time that I'll throw out there for you is the planning board, members, when they become full members, most of the time they're later on asked to run for election because the planning board is an elected post. In the future, could you see yourself perhaps running in the town election for that position? If a position came open or you felt like you wanted to step up into one of those roles?
I would say that would be not in the near future, but possibly, maybe a decade down the line.
It was at least 2 years before I ran, so that's, it's a learning position, so with the learning position, it's good to take in the information.
Yep, and you're not speaking about the planning board, correct?
I am speaking about. the
Oh,
planning board.
if you are speaking about,
Associate of the planning board is, I call that a learning.
Okay.
as Such, it was for me at least.
okay,
When I came on board, I hadn't served in town government before, and
so you're speaking about serving on the planning board?
serving on.
Yes, I see myself doing that. Yes, yes,
Thank you, that's the question side.
yeah, thank you.
We need a motion.
I make a motion to appoint, Mr. Sullivan as the associate member of the planning board.
Second.
All right, we have to do a roll call for this, Larry?
You can do a roll call, sure.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
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 Aye. I vote from the select board for the planning board, Bill, aye.
Liz, aye.
Bill, I.
Steve, aye.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you. I very much appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So Rob, you'll be in touch with.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, have to go to chat. of course.
Congratulations, sir.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Great, I'd like to make a motion to end the planning board portion of this meeting, planning board,
I'll second it.
made by Phil, seconded by Bill. Bill votes aye,
Liz, aye.
Bill, I.
Steve, aye. And planning board is now ended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We have the presentation of potential local initiative program for the project located up at Depot Street.
Yeah, I'll sit in the front row. How does that sound? You'll be in the driver's seat.
Oh, great.
Unless you.
Turn your microphone.
Does anybody want that?
Yes.
All on.
Yeah, there's one of those arms, the arms and all of the arms on your left. Yeah, there you go.
Our funny book comes back.
They can see it.
Would you like me to start so we can
Go for it.
just get rid of me quick? Good evening. Thanks for having us. I'm Kevin Lopez, the owner of Lopez Companies, and David Klein with me. He is one of my associates. We definitely, again, appreciate that you're taking the time to have a chat with us today. What we're here for is, as you described, is a local initiative project. It's a project that started, the possibility of it probably started, I'd say, about 2 years ago. At the time, Dennis Frayne had reached out to me about a quick conversation about potentially doing a private-public partnership deal with the town to develop some veteran housing, which we completely jumped in and thought that that would be a really great thing we'd love to do. We do a lot of affordable housing, and we've never done veteran housing, so we thought that would be a nice thing. It's probably been about a year and a half, maybe.
I would
I
say.
think we had a pretty large contingent meeting right here at the town hall with a lot of state officials and local officials to try to see how the veteran housing could be put together. And the sad thing about the veteran housing is that the scenario came back that there's really no funding, and the VA, which for Bellingham is crazy to me, is that it's actually out of Providence, Rhode Island, and it's not even in Massachusetts. And they came back at us relatively quickly, even with the help of a lot of our state officials, letting us know that if we were interested in doing a large scale VA project in the town of New Bedford, they would be interested, but they have no interest in the town of Bellingham. So we kind of tabled it for a little bit, and then Dennis kind of reached back out and said, geez, maybe we should think outside the box at that time. And so we did, and we thought, maybe we could do some type of a hybrid project, which would be a local initiative. So obviously with the support of the town, and what's always easiest to do is to work through the mass housing, for example, through a 40B, because you don't need the funding, it's privately funded. And with the 40B, we have the ability to do senior housing, and also combine that with senior veteran housing for veteran preference. So again, today is just for an overview, so I don't want to dive too deep into that, but so it came back that was really probably the best approach. And during that whole process, which, as I said, has been about 2 years, we did locate a piece of property. It's at 46 Depot Street, which is just to the right-hand side of the existing housing authority homes. And so we thought that was a really, everyone at the time thought that was a very good location, sidewalks connected to what we do have in that downtown area. And plus kind of a really good addition to the existing housing that's there. So why we're here is obviously to find out if you guys start to like what you see, have questions, comments, concerns. And basically with the local initiative project, it would really Ultimately, it ends up kind of following a 40B path, but with a few pretty important differences. That is that the select board would be signing on with us almost as a co-applicant. And as a regular 40B, that goes directly to the zoning board, and the zoning board of appeals is the group that actually walks that through its permitting. Whereas with a local initiative project, because it's more of a it's a collaborative project. I would say probably most times that project would be walked through the planning board, who is typically more, obviously more equipped to, it's what they do every other week, and they work on projects. So I think that's probably, I mean, Joe can step in. I know we've had a couple meetings with Joe too, so I know he was going to try to bring the board up to speed at some, about how that process could potentially work.
Rob, is there any chance you can blow that up a little bit? My eyes aren't letting me see.
Just say this, yeah.
Please.
It's meant to mesmerize you.
Hey, just a little bit.
He said word.
No, if you knew my background, you have zero argument from me.
So what was it? How many units are you proposing?
What's on the screen right now is it's 58 units with a small clubhouse, kind of like a community room for gatherings, and we would do that the central mail area would be in that building, just because the way the postmasters work today, they don't want to deliver to individual places. And
These are single dwellings. They're not like apartments on top of one.
they're not. If David could pull that.
Or maybe you can
It's
just-
a very
I'm
different
sorry.
project.
I'm probably jumping way ahead.
No, that's completely fine. Absolutely. Maybe go to an actual unit.
Yeah. So I'll quickly just give you an overview. The project with what we're proposing right now is 58 units. They're all single floor ranch style units. There's no steps, there's no long internal hallways. The individual's parking is directly in front of their front door. There would be things like zero entry showers with grab bars. There's one bedroom plus a den area, because we do a lot of senior housing, and we know the den areas become important, whether it's some grandchildren. Sometimes husbands and wives don't, necessarily sleep together all the time. So we need to have a little bit of space. Every unit has its own washer and dryer. Obviously, there's, for the seniors and veterans, there's no HOA fees, there's no real estate taxes, there's no maintenance. These are full kitchens. Yeah, everything is ADA, as far as your door entries, our heights on our vanities. And the units can also be ADA, like completely compatible, depending on who would come in, especially if it's going to be disabled veterans or disabled seniors that want to come in. We have the ability to alter units so that they can stay there and age in place, obviously. Yep, so is there gonna be an age, so this is for senior veterans, not just for disabled? Yeah, so it would be a 55+ project, and then, but with the veterans are important, because obviously the veterans get preference to be able to get the available units. Is there gonna be an income requirement for the veterans? Well, I'll jump to that. So the income, so one of the things that's happened, and I know again, Rob and Joe have been really instrumental in this. We've been pretty lucky. We've even had like the Massachusetts Housing Secretary come in to meet us here, just so we could go over, number one, rents, and what can we do to try to offset rents, and what's out there right now for any type of. So it'd be like 30% of their, so I'm only asking because like a 100% service connected veteran. Yep. They get about $3,800 a month. Okay. So that's like that's just like the bare minimum. Yeah. So I don't know if that would be an issue if they're 100% service connected. Well, so I think the thing that's hopefully the most exciting part of where we're heading with this right now is that we have started to have the conversations with Ed Pelletier at the Housing Authority. And as we said, we've really kind of gone up the chain quite a bit with a lot of the state officials on, what's available. Everyone knows right now there's a lot of programs have been shrinking, and there's not a lot of dollars out there. So what if anybody knows me, I don't like to get projects approved that we can't do. So that can be frustrating. So we're trying to make sure that, number one, we're coming out of the gate, trying to get a project approved that we can do. And then try to work into
how affordable, how much more affordable can we make it? So, I mean, I know, again, Joe can speak to this too, but, there could be some programs out there that the state, for example, might help us offset some of our infrastructure, which lowers the rents. But the thing that's the best about it is that, what came to us was that would we consider doing this project, and it's called a project-based voucher system. Much like a housing authority. And so when we met with Ed, or spoke to Ed, I should say, he was very excited about that. So what that means is that the buildings can be in perpetuity vouchered.
Okay.
So it's not a floating voucher where, someone from, 200 miles away, oh, here's a new project in Bellingham. So the vouchers, it goes with the unit in Bellingham. So if there's a system in place that Bellingham with, Ed can get 15 new vouchers, for example, we just added 15 more housing units to the house authority, which means what you just said, 30% is all they pay, the rest is voucher. So that is something that we would love to see the project do, because that is what we're trying to accomplish. I think Ed felt pretty good that there's vouchers available, and I believe everyone's hope is that as the whole climate sort of levels out a little bit, people realize that there's much more need and there'll be more program money available.
This would kind of be like along the lines of like I don't know if you've seen the Victory Campus up in Gardner.
I do know, I haven't been there, but I know the project.
Okay.
Yes.
You 100% have my support.
Well, I mean, I'll just step in. I mean, 2 years ago, Rob knows this, board knows this, and we need to do something about senior housing. We need to do something about veterans housing. I spoke to Dennis at great length, and I know that he had reached out to you.
Yeah.
I didn't know it had gone this far, and I'm really excited because this is just something, the whole board, but I've been behind, and years ago, we tried to get something done here. Even we've opened up talks about what to do on Center Street as well.
Yeah.
This town needs it.
Yeah.
And I'll just say this, we have a lot of seniors living in town that are living in homes that because of their incomes are not able to maintain them, keep them up to date. All that's inventory. We can get them into a place like this. It's nice. It's ADA compliant. All of those things that can help them live a much better and safer life.
Yes.
And then they can basically turn their house into inventory, sell it in town to a young family coming into town that wants to establish themselves.
Yeah.
It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I wish you could do 500 of them.
Crazy
I'm just saying that's how excited I am.
Yeah.
To sit here.
Yeah.
Knowing that behind the scenes, this has been going on since we brought this up. It's been a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So this is great.
And it was interesting because the timing was when Dennis had first reached out to me, we started getting involved with helping at the senior center for the Easter
Yeah.
lunch.
Mhm.
And holy mackerel, like the first year I went there, they found out who I was. I was like, it was like, what are you doing? We housing. And then, so the neat thing was for us is that we certainly weren't obviously this is still preliminary, but we
Right.
weren't even at this level, and we actually brought boards with me the last Easter. And we sat down with everybody at the senior center and just said, okay, guys, what do you think? And they gave us suggestions. They all said, well, we'd really like to have a patio out back, okay, we added a door out the back and then on patios, we really want to have zero entry, we don't want people to have to help us get in and out of the shower all the time. Okay, well, so we've done some pretty good legwork with the
I'm semi-assisted living without paying that assisted living fee to
Exactly.
a benchmark or
Yep.
somebody along
Yep.
those lines, someone that
Yep.
can help themselves,
Yep.
that needs a little bit
Yep.
of support.
Yeah. And we own other 55+ facilities that we've actually been introducing more services, because what we find is that the only time that people move out of the 55+, when we say 55+, you do that, the biggest reason why we're going to 55 is we're trying to help get more veterans in if they need to. Because technically it first came back on the housing part that there's also a 62+. Because they say, well, most of the people that are going to live here are definitely going to be older. But when we all talked about the hybrid of wanting to make sure that we're trying to encapsulate, more veterans, they're like, well, 55 is great. But what I was going with that is that the only reason people typically move out is because they cannot stay anymore because they have to go to assisted living. So we have started to actually introduce light services into our senior housing, where people don't have to go and spend $7,000 a month to be in a facility, but because it might just be that they need wellness checks, or they need so we have some laundry services now, we can have some meal stuff, so we're,
So have you partnered like with the Salmon Associates?
well, we're very close.
Or Tri-Valley,
Yep.
yeah.
And Visiting Angels, they're,
Oh,
they have a.
I know that, because I've dealt with all three of them with my
Yes,
mother-in-law in the
yeah,
past few
Yeah,
months.
Visiting Angels been helping out quite a bit,
Yeah,
and they're the
that's
ones
great.
that want to expand that program, so.
That's excellent.
So, that's really.
Okay, thank you.
So, long story short, that's why we're here. We know we have to come in more formally, but we wanted to make sure we were going in the right direction. And if it is, we would act pretty quickly, and to what Dawn said about that, I mean, again, I think Rob and Joe will admit that even when we were with the state, that was the first thing they said was, can you do 200?
Yeah,
And I said, no, we can't fit 200 here.
no, I know you can't there.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, so I mean, I know they're excited and they were hoping that you guys would have, this feeling, and that I believe that they would help us move it along.
How many acres is that? I'm curious.
5.1, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're 55, how many units again, 55? Or good number,
58.
58 and 5.1.
Yeah.
All right, I have another piece of land for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else on the board have anything?
So,
And these units would, yeah, I'm sorry, Joe. These units would be, all 2x6 construction, spray foam insulation, like,
Top of the line.
yes. Yes.
So for the board, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Kevin in and sort of go over the process was, as he mentioned, under 40B comprehensive permit process is a local initiative program where basically the select board and the town signs on as a co-applicant. That means that we'd want upfront a little bit of consensus. Yes, this is worth exploring so we can finalize things, prepare the information, because when eventually we would be coming back, or Kevin would be coming back with Rob's and my assistants facilitating it back to the board to present that plan for basically a positive determination, a vote to support that application. And then the board would be writing a letter to Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, basically signing on to the project. So LIPs are really, collaborative projects, unlike 40Bs. Even if a 40B is supported, a LIP is a much more, we're going together on a project. So I want to make sure the board had an opportunity to hear about the concept, see if it is something that the board would like to support before too much effort on pulling together that application, supportive information, what's needed.
Anybody else have anything?
I agree with it. I just think it's wonderful to have something to go to for the veterans. It's such a huge need in our town, really is. And senior housing has always been big.
Yeah.
This is very interesting. I like this, and I like where it's going.
You need a
I
motion.
like the idea of Depot Street.
No, this is really just to get a consensus. If the board felt that,
Yeah,
this is
I
a great thing
think
to
it's-
start
I
working,
think
we'll
it's-
have that decision point later on.
I'll make this. Do I have a motion to support
The concept.
the concept? Do I have a motion to support the concept as presented? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you. We'll see you
This
quickly.
has a project we really like.
Get it done before I'm gone.
I remember you now. Did you help me serve last?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Kevin?
great.
Yes.
Get it done before we're
you
gone.
got 7 months.
Okay. 7 months? I need 9.
So,
I think one thing is our project, eating material.
All right,
Yeah,
so we have.
yeah, Rob can just stay in his seat today.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay here all night.
Cedar Hill Road modification.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you cut me off again?
You're on.
I just didn't turn it on apparently. Yes, I do. So yeah, John Cusick is here as well. So John Cusick works with Bowler Engineering, who's actually the Meeting Group's engineer. And just to kind of go over what's going on here, similar to the last item on the agenda, where this is more of just a preliminary discussion, but this is something that I envisioned. Well, I think we all are hoping will come down the line for a formal vote to the select board. And just to give an overview of exactly what's going on. bear with me for one moment. All right. So I think everyone is familiar with Hartford Ave. And the pesky 3 houses that are not looking so good on Hartford Ave, which my cursor is circling here. So,
Sure, we're all aware of them.
oh yeah, so the meeting group is currently in front of the planning board right now with 2 applications. One of them is for these 3 parcels, which have the 3 houses that are in boarded up conditions. And then the other application is for these 2 parcels here, which I believe both of those houses are occupied.
I believe so.
Yeah. And then right down the middle is Cedar Hill Road. And then this is the intersection where Hartford Ave and 126 meet. So just so you can see what's being proposed, the property that has the 3 abandoned houses, that is what I will call the retail property. And essentially, what the meeting group is proposing is just a mixed-use retail commercial building. And I'll just pull up the rendering so you can see what it looks like. There we go. So this is what that building will eventually look like. So just a mixed use, could be retail on the first floor, some type of commercial, potential for offices. The uses for that overlay are pretty limited. It doesn't allow like convenience stores or gas stations or anything that's a high traffic use, but just to kind of put context to what's being proposed, this is the building, which is, in my opinion, a lot more aesthetically pleasing than what's there currently. So, yeah, so, and what that is going to look like is this. So this is the site plan that was submitted to the planning board, which has the building sort of in the middle with parking in the front and along the side here. There's a curb cut on Hartford Ave, but the main access point is really a curb cut on Cedar Hill Road. As we all know, Hartford Ave is quite difficult to traverse. It's very, very busy. And frankly, the best option to utilize any access for this site would be for Cedar Hill Road because you have the signalized intersection. It's not ideal to have a full service entrance and exit on Hartford Ave. You don't want vehicles cutting across 2 lanes of traffic, especially during rush hour. As you can see, the way that this curb cut is designed, it's a left in and right out. I mean, a right in and right out only. And this is all being looked at from the planning board side. Now, we have undergone traffic peer review from the planning board side. This application is still ongoing, but one item that is critical for this to really work with the way it's designed is for a portion of Cedar Hill Road, which is currently a 1-way road, to become partly a 2-way road. It would really be, the way that this is designed would be the first 150 feet, and this shows a scored concrete island. We're going to go through the details of what would actually be built, but right after this curb cut, where the entrance is to the business, there would be some type of raised island that would deter anybody from going or continuing down Cedar Hill Road the wrong way. Because I think the board is aware, the Cedar Hill Road residents have made it very clear that they do not want the road to be a 2-way, with traffic from Hartford Ave hindering their neighborhood. So the reason why we're bringing this up is because, as I mentioned, the application is still in front of the planning board. What needs to happen for the planning board to really issue a recommendation to the select board, because this would require a vote from the select board to change a portion of Cedar Hill Road to a 2-way. There needs to be more of an analysis done for this intersection of Hartford Ave, because there's potentially an improvement project in the works, as you know, a significant improvement project for Hartford Ave. But there needs to be an analysis of what needs to be done for that intersection if this were to be changed to Cedar Hill Road, that two-way now. And once the expansion occurs on Hartford Ave, which requires, a bit of analysis, some time, effort and money. And we're at the point now where the planning board needs that information, and the meeting group is willing to go forward with getting this analysis, but really they wanted to get some feedback from the board to see if this is even something that the board would be willing to look at, because if it's a no-go, if it's, no, we don't want to change a portion of Cedar Hill Road to a two-way, then, there's really no point in looking into that analysis, and we'll have to start looking at another option if possible. I know from my standpoint, this is a very difficult corner to develop as is right now, because Hartford Ave is so busy, bless you. And in my opinion, just from the technical standpoint, it makes sense to, if you can utilize a signalized intersection to get vehicles in and out of these sites, which in my opinion are in desperate need of redevelopment, this is the best way to do it. So that's why we're here.
I'm in favor of it. Yeah, absolutely, actually, I may be the only one here, but I'm in favor of making Cedar Hill a two-way. I mean, I lived down in Valley View 45 years ago when it was two-way. I know when they changed it to a one-way because of that serious accident that happened. To me, folks having to go into Arrowhead, it adds more burden to Arrowhead. It adds more burden to Farm Street. If you divide it in threes, it's probably not gonna be that much more traffic on Cedar Hill. So if it were me, and listen, I have friends that live on Cedar Hill and they don't want it to be, but I have to think about everything, not just one person. And to me, the whole road should be a two-way at this point in time. We have a signal there, signal works, major improvement's gonna happen, so if the board wants just to make a portion of it, that's fine. I'd be in favor of making the whole road, and I know I'll get phone calls, but we live in a town where, there's a lot of street traffic, there's a lot going on, and to take one street in town and make it one way because of something that happened 35 years ago, we have to evolve. So to me, it should be a two-way street. Personally, so what you want to do here, what are you talking, 150 feet?
Yeah, it's about 150 feet.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I mean, to do what you're gonna do in that corner, and that building kind of looks opposite the other building. I mean, your building's gonna look nicer than the one that's across here, the Dunkin' Donuts, but they kind of mirror each other in a way, the way they look and feel, so. It'll make that corner much nicer, that area.
I'm not sure how I feel about this at all. I mean, I love the building, that's great, and it certainly is an improvement over what they've left us with for the last several years. But, I'm really not sure if I'm for or against it, to be very honest with you, I have visions of people, no matter if there's a chunk of cement there, people will go around that cement, go up Cedar Hill, that's just people. But, why is it that you can't, I mean, there's businesses on Hartford Avenue that have an in and an out, why can't you make it similar on going into Hartford Avenue and making an exit out? Say you go in one way and come out the other onto Hartford with that building. Versus an in and an out all in one, why can't you go in one and then out, like
If you-
go around and come out
Yeah,
another?
but if you're coming like from Mendon in, that means you'd have to cross over the light and then try to cut through 2 lanes of traffic to get into that building. If you couldn't take a left at Cedar Hill and then take a right into the back of the building, you just described, you literally have to go through the intersection. And then try to take a left, and eventually be 3 lanes of traffic. You'll have to cross 3 lanes of traffic to get in there. That wouldn't work at all. This is really the only viable way to make that traffic flow. And that you've got to flow it, the circuit, you can't
But
stop.
if people are coming off, because I say, I'm not gonna buy the scenario, and I love
Yeah.
it dearly, but people coming off Ford 95,
Yeah.
they wanna go into that, what is it? Safeway, whatever that stupid gas station is.
Yeah.
They cross 2 lanes of traffic to get in there.
So,
So, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
you're
so that,
coming this way, you gotta go there, you got 2 lanes of traffic. If you're coming this way, you wanna go in there, you got 2 lanes there's 2 lanes of traffic, no matter what you do on Hartford Avenue.
so I think that's exactly the reason why it would be better to utilize the signalized intersection, because this is actually something that's been brought up a lot during the planning board hearing is this curb cut, which I've zoomed in on Hartford Ave, this mirrors what the other curb cuts are for those other businesses, where it's right in, right out. And you are correct that it's not always right in, right out. People are cutting across 2 lanes of traffic. If Hartford Ave gets expanded upon, now you're talking about 3 lanes of traffic. And if there's like a turn lane, it's even more. So we want to avoid that at all costs. And it really the best solution, which no other businesses on Hartford Ave have the possibility of having an entrance that could be served by a signalized intersection. So if we can utilize it for this site and actually the one across from Cedar Hill as well, which right now they're proposing a bank. I have those plans too, if you want to see those.
No.
You know, that's why it makes the most sense to do it this way. We don't wanna have cars cutting across 2 lanes of traffic to access.
Create more of an accident.
Yeah, which is going back, I know that nobody wants to hear this, but a gas station would have been perfect there in that area, because then people wouldn't be crossing across the lanes to get their gas, et cetera. But this time of year, there's probably less people crossing because there's just no way to cross it safely.
Yeah.
There really isn't. Even if they want to go to the mobile station and they're coming from 495, they're gonna take a left at the light, take a right, because it's almost impossible to take a left after the light to come into the backside of the mobile.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, do they do it? Yeah, they do it.
Yeah.
There's gonna be that one person that.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions or comments or?
I think it checks a lot of the boxes that we've heard from, previous meetings as far as a mixed use building. A nice aesthetically that we have right there right now, a safety is an issue. So I think it checks a lot of the boxes and I'm eager to see what the findings are from the study that we go a little further. I'm not sure about making Cedar Hill 2-way the whole way through, but I think up to a certain point makes sense that, they get a little, we give and take a little bit, right? So it makes a lot of sense to me. I'm kind of eager to see what you guys can find out, come back with. So I'm for it.
Cody, any?
Yeah, I think I've been following these meetings as well, on the planning board side, and I think it's a good solution to a lot of the problems. I think just wherever that terminates at that 150 feet, make it very visible and very clear that you cannot go around it. You can't go straight over the curb. You can't, because like everyone else said, if you give them an inch, they're gonna take a mile and they're just gonna start cutting up. But the other side of that, they're gonna use Farm Street and come down the other way speeding. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
And Rob, in all the intents and purposes are there, because a really good example is the Amazon facility. When trucks aren't supposed to take a left and you've got that big curb cut, happens all the time.
And
They're supposed to take a right, they go up over the curb, they could care less. If they
Yeah.
go over that curb or not, they just do, there's not much you can do.
That one has a scored island
Yeah.
median, right?
Yeah, and there's also a raise, you kind of forces you to the right a little bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's a challenge, but what Ann's saying, and I don't disagree. Someone's gonna wanna cross, they're gonna cross it, just like they go down High Street, they're not supposed to use High Street. It happens.
Yeah.
That's why, to me, if you just made it a 2-way, you wouldn't have to worry about that 1 or 2 people that are jumping over the curb cuts, and you'd flow traffic better. You just would flow better.
That's what the traffic study would.
Yeah, and that's what I'd love to understand from a traffic study. What would be the impact? How many trips a day would potentially, and I'm not a big traffic study person because you can kind of fudge numbers, I believe, but at least have something. What's the thought that the traffic, like how many cars are going up Arrowhead? And I don't know where to measure that, and then continuing on to Cedar Hill and continuing on to Farm Street, or using Farm Street and going down and hitting Valley View and those other streets where they may have used Cedar Hill. Because I've heard people on Cedar Hill and on Farm Street, on Valley View complain to me, why isn't Cedar Hill a 2-way? It's a pain in the neck that I have to use Arrowhead.
Yeah.
I get that argument too.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Just for clarity too, what we've been discussing for the treatments of Cedar Hill Road at that 150-foot mark where it goes back to a 1-way, it would be a 16-foot wide aisle with a, striping, do not enter, a little stop sign there and signage. But this island is really the critical part. And initially, I think it was gonna be just a mountable scored concrete island at one point, but our traffic consultant, the peer reviewer, came back with some comments, and what is most likely going to happen is gonna be a 4-inch reveal sloped curb. So if, for example, like the fire truck had to get over it, or a DPW truck, it's mountable, but from like a passenger vehicle, you're not gonna wanna hop that curb. I mean, you're gonna have to go around into the 16-foot do not enter aisle, which you can do, but that's gonna take some effort. So, I mean, that's the whole point, is because we don't wanna just put a sign that says do not enter here. We know that signage doesn't always work.
No.
I mean, I actually think the use of the building is gonna play into that as well. You're talking about office space and, you know, maybe not highly traffic.
Yeah.
You know, high times, and it's, you don't have retail. I think that's gonna lend itself to.
Yeah.
That traffic study as well.
When the town voted on that overlay, the uses were definitely restrictive to.
Medical office building, right?
Yeah, medical office or just regular professional office. There's retail that's allowed, but no convenience stores, so.
No high traffic type retail establishments.
Correct.
Candy store, things along those lines.
Correct, we didn't
Right.
want transient traffic to.
I was thinking more of the candy store that he has up in Mendon, is what I was thinking, a country store.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of that other candy store in Woonsocket.
Or Chick-fil-A.
I was gonna say, somebody associated with that business might be.
No, but yeah, and no Chick-fil-A's where the, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely no food establishments are allowed. These are all on septic anyway, so it really wouldn't work that way.
So do you need do we do a motion like we did before, just to support the?
The analysis, right? Maybe nothing.
I don't think you need I mean, you can make a motion if you want. I mean, I think this has been helpful, really. I think, the meeting group just wanted to make sure that, if they move forward, or if they move forward with the traffic studies, they're gonna be any type of potential support.
I think,
So,
and
I think you've
I
answered.
think we're in favor of that. Well, I'll say I am, but I want to hear the results of the traffic study.
Yeah.
Before any vote is taken by us to make it a, two-way for 150. If you want to hear the traffic study and want to see a little bit more, maybe you can give us a 3D rendering of what that would look like. Because it's hard, I'm not an engineer, I can't visualize that, I need to see a picture.
Yeah, we're gonna go through all of that with the planning board and present that to that board, and we can certainly, when we come before this board formally, we can present all of that information and show you again.
So if we have to approve it, the roadway.
Yeah.
We want to at least see that portion.
Yeah, and this, we were just wanted to make sure that we're going down the right path as we kept,
I think you guys are going on the right path.
It's right, yeah.
Perfect.
As long as he agrees to sell Moxie at one of the stores.
Can I do with my brother? I ship that stuff to his house.
Tired of driving.
Maybe you can buy cough syrup right over it.
It's not the same. You go to I go to Mendon.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
everybody.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I think I can sit down now.
Are you sure? Are you not
Aren't
staying?
you sitting?
Are you staying for the next part too?
What's the next one?
Tip project.
Oh, no,
That's
Jesse.
Jesse.
Haha, your turn.
I
think they might have, I think I got Sharon Power. Sweet, perfect.
Now want me to set up for you and I can,
Well, that must be another Amazon package. Drives my dog crazy all day long.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time tonight. What we have in front of us
Is a presentation and status update on the Hartford Ave, or the scheduled Hartford Ave tip. With me tonight, I do have representatives from CHA to provide a status update,
where we're at, where we're headed, and open up the floor for any questions that might arise.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Morgan with CHA. With me tonight is Andrew Bellingham. our lead highway engineer. I'm the project manager for the project. And we've been working with the town of Bellingham DPW and Road Commission on this project, and then we'll give you an update on where we're at. All right, so this is what we have for an agenda tonight. Give you a brief overview, talk about the goals of the project, progress to date, some of the proposed improvements, from a high level, go through some of the changes we're planning to make from this project to Hartford Avenue. And then also go through a list of a few items that we still need to make decisions on and that we're working with the town to try to come up with a direction. And then also talk about the next steps on the project. All right, just give you a little overview on the project limits. Project is about 1.5 miles long. It's starts around the Oak Hill Cemetery and then ends at the Medway Town line. Project includes a couple of major intersections, including Maple Street and Pearl Street. And then we have a total project cost of over $16 million. So this is a significant project and a significant investment for the town of Bellingham. Funding for the project is through the Massachusetts Transportation Improvement Program. That's a program that I guess we can go to the next slide and talk a little bit about the what's called the TIP, Transportation Improvement Program. So this project, the program is basically is a allocation of federal and state money that is run by Mass DOT, but the money is actually programmed by the regional planning organization. So local MPO determines which projects get funded in which fiscal year, and they have a 5-year list of projects. So it's a long range list, and Hartford Avenue is currently programmed on the list for federal fiscal year 2029 and 2030. So it's they're funding in both of those fiscal years. The town is responsible for some of the costs of the project, including design. So our fees are coming from the town of Bellingham. Also for permitting, for environmental permitting. It's mainly the type of permitting that's required for this project would be the local planning board, the local conservation commission, the local and then the state permitting as well with the Massachusetts NEPA organization and DEP. And then the town is also responsible for right-of-way acquisitions on the project. So on these projects, because it's receiving federal money, there's a significant right-of-way process that we have to follow, and then that requires acquiring easements for any properties where we have to do work outside of the road layout on private property. So, and then the town is responsible to acquire those easements. Can request donations from residents. However, they are entitled to be compensated for those easements if they so choose. But the project, what the benefit of the project is you're leveraging your funding, which is cost of design and permitting and right of way, to get the construction funding from the TIP, which is a significant amount at $16 million. So the town's portion of that may only be might only be 20% of that. I don't have the exact number of that because the right of way costs are to be determined at this point still. And the other thing about this program is Mass DOT is heavily involved in the review of the project. So we have to meet all their standards. So we're designing roadway to meet Mass DOT's standards to the extent practicable. We can request design exceptions if there are too many impacts to meeting some of their more stringent standards. But we don't want to sacrifice safety unless we really have to. Go to the next project. Next slide. All right. So the goals of the project. Several goals that we'd like to achieve. Certainly, we want to try to make capacity and safety improvements at some of the intersections along the project. There's two main intersections, like I mentioned, Maple and Pearl Street, that we're doing capacity analysis at. That will determine, if we need to add lanes. We are proposing a traffic signal at Pearl Street where it doesn't exist today. We're proposing to reconstruct the traffic signal at Maple Street. We'll also be looking at all the minor intersections along the road, the intersections with a little less traffic, make safety improvements there as well. So we'll also look to make improvements along the corridor of the roadway itself. One of the things that we have to do is try to make this a complete street. It's accommodates all the users along the roadway, not just vehicles, but pedestrians and bicycles as well. Try to make improvements that benefit everyone. And we have to try to meet MassDOT's requirements for their complete streets requirements. Other goals would be to replace the Stallbrook culvert with a new bridge that we're proposing. This was originally part of a separate project and got rolled into the TIP project to help with funding the construction of the bridge. And then we also have drainage improvements that we're going to try to make along the project. Make improvements where we can to the existing infrastructure. We'll be looking to meet the town's MS4 requirements. Try to make as many improvements as we can to drainage. And then, certainly signs, pavement markings, any other safety improvements we can make along the project. Going to be implemented throughout the quarter. So to date, what have we achieved? We've completed all the data collection, traffic counts, survey, done the pavement cores, things like that. That's been all completed. We've done a preliminary pre-25% design, which was completed back in March 2024, submitted to Mass DOT. That received, their review. We got feedback from them, and then the project was then accepted into the TIP. But that's when it received its funding year. That was back in June 2024. That's when it was actually programmed into the TIP. And then we added the Stallbrook Bridge, as I mentioned, back in October of 2024. So that became part of the project. So the scope of the project changed. And then, since then, we've been basically trying to get the status of the bridge portion of the project caught up to the roadway design. And we submitted some bridge studies to Mass DOT this past August. And then we've got some feedback from those, and we're trying to address those comments and advance the bridge design. And then we're also currently still working with the DPW and the road commission on some of the concepts and making some design decisions at some of the locations along the project. So some of the proposed improvements include, as I mentioned, the Maple Street intersection. We're looking to reconstruct that traffic signal at that intersection. I can go into it, one of the next slides, a little bit about what we're going to do there. Pearl Street intersection, as I mentioned, new signal. And then the other side streets, we're looking to address sight distance at a number of side streets where right now you don't have the visibility that you like to see. So we're doing that. And then to accommodate the bicycles and pedestrians, we are looking to add a 10-foot shared use path along the corridor on the west side of the road. And then we'd also have a 5-foot sidewalk on the east side. So you'd have pedestrian accommodations on both sides of the road. And then you'd have the bicycles which share the shared use path on the west side of the road. And then we'd also have crosswalks. We'd be looking to enhance those, add some crosswalks, make them safer, possibly add some flashing beacons at those crosswalks. So certainly looking at that, and then also making everything ADA accessible throughout the corridor. As it puts stormwater treatment improvements, we're currently looking at 3 potential sites along the corridor to potentially make a stormwater basin to treat stormwater before it's discharged into wetlands. And then we're at Stallbrook. We're looking to replace the old culvert at that location with a new compliant bridge that meets the standards that are required. And then at Hopping Brook, the existing bridge there, which is only about 15 years old, it's a fairly new bridge. We may need to extend that, make it longer in order to accommodate the shared use path. That's something we're looking at. So this is a graphic that just basically shows what you have there today for Hartford Avenue. In red, you can see that the right-of-way, which is what the town owns, is about 60 feet wide. The roadway width itself varies about 26 to 30 feet wide. So you have narrow shoulders, only about 1 to 3 feet. Fairly wide travel lanes, 12 to 14 feet wide. And then, 5-foot sidewalk on one side of the road. This is the proposed typical section. So the right-of-way width remains at 60 feet wide. We'd be using more of that right-of-way. We would have narrow travel lanes at 11 feet wide. Shoulders would be about 4 feet wide, so that's your white line to your curb. And then, as I mentioned, on one side, you'd have the sidewalk, the 5-foot sidewalk. And then on the other side, you'd have a shared use path. That would be 10 feet wide. And it would be separated from the roadway by a 5-foot grass buffer. So you'd have a grass strip in between the shared use path and the roadway. And this is how that would look, at the Maple Street intersection. So at Maple Street, we're looking to do a few things here. We're looking to realign Maple Street where just slightly Maple Street would become a little bit wider. We'd add a left turn lane here from Maple Street onto Hartford Avenue. And then, the access road to the school on the opposite side of the street from Maple Street would be realigned. Currently, it's not part of the traffic signal. We would realign it so it'd be part of the traffic signal. That's one of the concepts we're looking at right now. And we'd line it up with Maple Street so that the traffic would be able to flow better there. So, the other improvements here is, we'd have the shared use path coming through on the west side of the road. You can see it looks like a much wider sidewalk on the on the side of Hartford Avenue on this plan. And on the east side, you still have your 5-foot sidewalk. So these have, all new traffic signal equipment and, with this, we can improve the flow of traffic through this intersection. We'd address safety issues, with the, there's been problems with truck turning here in the past. So we make sure that we accommodate the larger trucks on, there've been, issues where they have taken out, posts on the corner of the road here and in the past, and, all of those things are things we're looking at. So. One of the other things we're looking at is the access to the Stallbrook Elementary School. And this is kind of we're kind of looking at this together with the Maple Street intersection. So it's all kind of plays together. So we're looking at whether it makes sense to change the access here to make it safer to get in and out of the school. And, we're looking at, we've done a study, presented some concepts to the school and the road committee. And, we're working through that to figure out, which direction the town wants to go as far as, do we want to change the main access driveway to the school? And some things we're looking at is, making it potentially a bus only access, making it an emergency only access, and having the traffic use the access road instead that would be part of the traffic signal. So there's a lot of things we're looking at there, and we're working with the town to make a decision with that one. And then we've got the Pearl Street intersection, which is currently unsignalized. Stop control on Pearl Street. We will be signalizing this. It does meet warrants to signalize it. So we would be looking at adding, a left turn lane on Hartford Avenue onto Pearl Street, and then adding a traffic signal and having the shared use path on the west side again, going through the intersection. And then the Sawbrook culvert replacement. So this one is currently an 8-foot wide stone concrete culvert, but it's in poor condition. It's got deteriorating abutments, and the top slab is also deteriorating. So, we're looking to, there's been a study done to see what needs to be installed here based on trying to meet the stream crossing standards and meet the hydraulic requirements for this stream. And what was determined was it really needed to be widened to an 18-foot wide bridge. Anything over 10 feet wide is no longer culvert, becomes a bridge in the eyes of Mass DOT. So 18 feet, we're into the bridge standards at that point. We're looking at a 3-sided precast concrete box for the bridge. All right, so some of the decisions we're still trying to come to a consensus on this project would be, as I mentioned, Stallbrook access and circulation, and the Maple Street intersection, and those two things play together, and how we want to make that intersection and school access, best work for the town. It's decisions on, depending on which way we go, there may be additional costs in the town as far as right-of-way acquisitions. There may be, work that has to take place on school property that may or may not be covered by Mass DOT. So there's things that are still to be determined at that location. Um, And then, we're also looking at some, as I mentioned, the stormwater treatment areas. And those are on private property, those locations that we're looking at, so those also require coordination with property owners. And then, as I mentioned at Hoppingbrook Bridge, we may need to extend that bridge. However, we're looking at doing hydraulic analysis and determining if there's any issues with the floodplain before we move forward. It may be a case where we have to ask for a design exception there and may not be able to carry our shared use path over that bridge. We may have to end the shared use path sooner and not extend that bridge if there's going to be significant impacts to the floodplain. All right, so our next steps on this project, we're going to finalize these bridge studies and try to get those in this winter. Those are being done by a sub-consultant, STV. They were involved with the bridge before it became part of this project, so they've stayed on as our sub-consultant. And then we'll be moving on to a full 25% submission this spring. We're currently looking at May for that. That will include both the bridge and the roadway. Full project 25% submittal to Mass DOT. Mass DOT would then, take a 90-day review of that project before they issue comments back to us, and then we would have some back and forth to resolve those comments, and then there would be a design public hearing later this year, where Mass DOT would actually come out to the town of Bellingham and be the administrators of that hearing. And that would be the formal hearing that would present the project to the town, all the fine details of the project, allow certainly any residents that are interested in making comments to the DOT and to us to provide feedback on the design at that time. Then the project would move on to the 75% design phase, and look to make the 75% submission to Mass DOT probably the following year in spring of 2027. And that really, once you get to the 75% design, you've really got all the details worked out, the final design, grading, and the drainage, how everything's going to work would be really detailed at 75% design. And then, following the 75% design, we get into final design and permitting. So after the 75% design, that's when we really get into the environmental permitting. We submit draft permits with the 75% design for Mass DOT to review. And then once they approve it, we move on to, we'll be filing with the local conservation commission and then filing with DEP and if we need to, with Army Corps of Engineers, any environmental agencies that we need to file with. And then once the permitting is completed, we finalize the design, and then we'd move on into right-of-way acquisitions, and then construction. The advertisement for construction is scheduled to be, as I mentioned, federal fiscal year 2029. So that advertisement could take place as soon as the fall of 2028, but no later than September of 2029 would be the latest that you can advertise for that federal fiscal year. The actual advertisement date hasn't been determined yet, so we're still early on in the project process. And then construction would likely start 2029 at that point. So that's where we're at in the project, where it's going. Certainly, I know it was a lot of information, and we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Jesse, this is really for Jesse. As part of this process, you had a conversation with Chief Miller regarding the fire feasibility study.
Yes.
And regarding the potential, because I'm on that committee. And, there's consideration regarding a new firehouse in North Bellingham, which is right at Stallbrook. Right there, Maple Street and Hartford Ave. So that's where the community building is now potentially. So again, we're way far away from anything like that, but we should at least have a conversation with them about what the engineering group has come back to the committee and proposed. Curb cuts, the whole 9 yards, fire engines in, fire engines out. I'd hate to see you do all this work, and then have to cut it all up. So I think a conversation should be had with Chief Miller.
So great feedback on that. I appreciate that. Chief Miller has been involved with our road committee
Okay,
meetings.
great.
He's aware of this, provided comments.
Excellent,
Absolutely. Thank
very good. Very good.
Anything else for the board?
I have a half-formed question for you. The collection basin by Stallbrook, is that where I understand that to be? The water collect basin? Was that,
No,
is that, or is that, am I off?
The proposed, are you talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah, so there's 3 sites we're looking at. There's one small site, there's not really a whole lot of area around Stallbrook to develop a basin.
I guess that's kind of where I'm like, there's not a whole lot of runoff up there
We're
anyways, but.
looking at a small one potentially there, but it's more towards actually Pearl Street, near the Cumbies there. There's a
Okay.
couple of undeveloped sites there that we're seeing if it's
That's what's
feasible
proposed, okay.
to put a space in there. Yes.
The other thing was across in St. Brendan's, so Plymouth Road.
Yeah.
That is a really tough area. Coming up over the hill, there's 2 areas. It's that road.
Mhm.
And then I know you're fully aware, and then there's the access to the soccer fields. So that's a really bad blind spot, because you come up over the hill and they're trying to get out and cross the road to the left. So if you've not taken into consideration the sight lines there, and I'm just thinking about flashing lights, because it's not a full playground, but it's a soccer field that's used for practice and games, et cetera.
Yeah.
And it's hidden away off to the back, if you're not familiar with that. And then Plymouth Road, to me, something has to be done there. Whether it's, you don't want a lot of lights, but I would love to see signaling at Plymouth Road. That there's a lot of cars that goes in and out of there. It's a large development, and it's very difficult to get out of Plymouth Road. So can you look at Plymouth Road as far as signaling Plymouth Road? You also have St. Brendan's Church, not that but Sunday, Saturday afternoons, it's tough. It's really, really difficult, especially this time of year. With all the shopping that's going on. And oh man, so if you can, I know Pearl Street is, I get it, I live in North Bellingham.
Yeah.
But Plymouth Road is just tough. Please, you can look at that. I know we don't want signal. But that'll also slow traffic down naturally by having signal.
Yeah, we're looking at Plymouth Drive, and there's a crash history there.
Yeah, yeah, there is.
Really, there not too long ago. So we are looking at, I can tell you, sight lines coming out of Plymouth Drive right now, it's hard to see, looking north as well as south. So we're looking to clear some trees, get some obstacles out of the way, move some fences to help clear sight lines, as well as realign Hartford Avenue on that approach. But when it comes to installing a traffic signal, that's a little harder to do.
Why is that? Why is it harder? Is it budgetary?
Basically, traffic signals, need to meet manual uniform traffic control device signal warrants in order to install a signal at a location. It's federal, basically, criteria that you need to meet. Mass DOT would not support putting in a signal unless it met the criteria.
What's the criteria?
A lot of them are based on traffic volumes, but there are some based on safety. Now we can take a closer look to see if anything can be met at that location, and we will. Yeah.
Cause I find it hard to believe that wouldn't meet a criteria where there are other signals in town that were put in after one accident. There's several accidents there, not just 1 or 2. So it's a tough area. So I just ask that you look further into that, please.
Definitely do that.
Thank you. Great, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Jesse, you're staying in the hot seat, right?
Yeah.
You get to know what Rob felt in the first part of the meeting.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks. We're gonna review the abatement request for 1 Hemlock Lane.
Yes, correct. So wanted to take a moment to revisit this request. So we discussed this during our, during the November 24th meeting. Had the opportunity to look a little bit farther into this. There was a recommendation made by the board to pay the remaining balance prior to the penalties that were tacked onto this account. I did have the opportunity to take a look into that. The resident had paid the amount requested by the board, so that was fantastic that they made the effort. But as it stands, we still have an outstanding balance and looking for some guidance, some input on, you know, where we'd like to go with this. So essentially, we had several, to recap on the previous meeting, we had several instances of no reads. Estimated payments were placed on, estimated bills were placed on the account based off your typical standard consumption. As a result of the DPW not being able to install the MXU or the digital reader, these penalties were put in place and they escalate. So for the first no read, there is actually no penalty. For the second, there's a minor penalty. For the third, it grows and so on and so forth. So this address, this resident, with about a total of $3,000 worth of penalties. There was an event where the meter had frozen up due to insufficient heating within the dwelling, causing the need for a new meter and an MXU at that point. So we've been successful in getting reads since. So providing an update on that and if there was any input on
Anybody have any input?
Yeah, the more I thought about it, Jesse, thank you for all that. Personally, the more I thought about it, the effort that we did, that you did, I mean, we as a town, you know, I'm not in favor of waiving the penalties. I'm just not, I thought I would be, but I'm just not. I need to be consistent, like we've treated others. You've done everything. To me, not having time to put a mailbox in is just not a good excuse. Just doesn't sit well with me. So I'm not in favor of waiving the penalties. I think we should enforce the penalties. That's me.
Anybody else have any input?
No.
Okay. Do I have a motion to,
I think there was an original motion that Jesse put, on that first page of the memo. Do you guys see that? And it's dated November 19th.
yeah,
If not,
I got the motion here.
go ahead, Ann.
I move the quarterly water utility bill for 1 Hemlock Street receive no abatement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
1. 4-1.
Thank you. Okay.
Better boy.
Up next, we have the bid award for the DPW generator at 215 Depot. As you know, this was on the town meeting warrant. This was funded at town meeting. We have the award for this effort in front of us tonight. We've received a number of bids, 9 in total. So very competitive bid process in front of you tonight. I have an award for the low bidder, Tilton Electric.
All right, I move that the contract 2025 DSDG Depot Street DPW generator be, what's that?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, be awarded to Tilton Electrical Inc. of Plymouth, Mass.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. All right, the well access road.
Yes, so similar to my previous, this was another effort that was funded at town meeting. We did competitively bid this effort as well. This is for the access road for Bellingham's potential new well source. This is a well that does not currently exist, but we are avidly exploring the potential for our next viable source, well 10.
We received a total of 7 bids for this, and similar to my previous recommendation, we are recommending this, I am recommending this be awarded to our low bidder, Dandel Construction of Hanson, Mass.
Chairman,
Yes.
I move that the contract 2025 WTAR well 10 access road be awarded to Dandel Construction Inc. in Hanson, Mass.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed?
Chairman,
I vote. All right.
can I just go back 1 minute?
Sure.
We had an abatement for 215 Depot. If we had an abatement for $95.86. Says DPW recommended adjusted bill totaled 169.33.
I'm sorry, for 250, that is the DPW's, address, is that?
So you had an motion here for I move the quarterly water and sewer bill. Utility bill for 2302 Old Bridge Lane receive a full amount requested for.
We did
abate-
that at the last meeting. We did that at the last
Oh
meeting.
my God, well, you got it on my thing.
Well, that's because.
Hello.
It was the.
I'm
it
like,
was-
why are we skipping this guy? Okay.
No, we did it on November 24th when we were talking about Hemlock.
Yeah,
And so
okay.
it was the
All
same
right.
memo.
That's
We
okay.
never got a new
It
one.
was still there, so I thought we
Apologies.
were missing this guy.
For clarification, apologies on that. We just represented the information in November for this one item. But thank you for bringing that up.
Traffic Advisory Committee recommendations.
Okay, back to Hartford Avenue. We actually had received some interest on Hartford Ave in front of the Stallbrook School. We've got the school crossing, some crosswalks in the area. To make the intersection a little bit more visible, this is a signalized intersection. As you know, there's a crossing button. DPW had installed some signage there for motorists to observe the crosswalks in the area. One of the issues that we have come across is the mid-block crossing. Essentially, it's a crosswalk without the intersection. It's in the middle of the block. So looking to make that more visible to motorists in the area. So similar to what we have done in the town center, adding highly visible yellow paint, and the rationale behind that is close proximity to the school. So we're looking for support by the select board tonight. This was something that was evaluated by our transportation advisory committee and well supported.
I move the select board authorize the highly visible yellow paint on Hartford Ave at Maple Street and Stallbrook as recommended by Bellingham's Traffic Advisory Committee.
Second.
The second. All those in favor? Opposed?
Thanks, Jesse. You know, that was a big deal.
Absolutely. And just one note on that, doesn't change anything, but just so everybody's aware, it's not gonna happen tonight, tomorrow, next time the.
Come on.
Sorry. Once it warms up a little
I mean,
bit.
now, well, there's all salt and sand on the road.
You know, it might not stick too long with the salt and sand.
At least you're not using beet juice.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you all for your time.
Have a good night.
Jesse. All right, the gifts and grants received.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I move that the Board of Selectmen accept the gifts and grants as listed herein with said expenditures to be under the direction of the parties noted. And it's $500 from Cheryl Begley for the donation for the fire prevention account, and it'll be spended, the authority is fire department.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote. And the annual renewal list.
Yep. And you'll see that I put the motions in yellow for each of the ones that I need you guys to read. Been working really hard getting all of these applications in, and I'm just missing 2 at this point. So we'll take those up again at the January meeting, 2 bulk storage ones.
Okay, great job. I have a motion for the autos.
Move to approve the class 2, class 3 and auctioneer license renewal applications as listed contingent on successful inspections and outstanding payments to the town.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote. I have a motion for the vehicular license renewals.
Move to approve the common particular license renewal applications as listed contingent on successful inspections and outstanding payments to the town.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Secondhand dealer license.
Move to approve the secondhand dealer's license renewal applications as listed contingent on successful inspections and outstanding payments to the town.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hotel license.
Move to approve the motel license renewal application for Countryside Motel contingent on successful inspections and outstanding payments to the town.
A second.
Second.
All those in favor? The auctioneer license.
Move to approve the permit to operate and auctioneer's license renewal application for Tudell's Auction Gallery contingent on successful inspections and outstanding payments to the town.
Second.
All those in favor? Liquor license.
Move to approve the liquor license renewal applications as listed contingent on successful inspections and outstanding payments to the town.
Have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote. Restaurants.
Move to approve the liquor common victualler, automatic amusement, exhibit motion pictures, weekday and Sunday entertainment license renewal applications as listed contingent on successful inspections and outstanding payments to the town.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Bulk storage.
Move to approve the bulk storage license renewal applications as listed contingent on successful inspections and outstanding payments to the town.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
I vote.
And thank you all for
Thank you.
signing the license.
A lot of work.
Yes, sir. All right, we have the select board meeting dates, January through June.
Yep, Joe and I were looking to, get these dates like set in stone, just, as far as January, because we have some deadlines as far as opening the warrant, I don't know what else, budget, we want to make sure we set the budget workshop and stuff like that. So January, the first and third of the Mondays does not work because the third is a holiday. So we were looking to see if we could do January 5th and January 26th.
Anybody have any issues with January 5th and January 26th?
No.
No?
No? Okay.
Good.
Good. February, so February 2nd and 16th doesn't work because 16th is a holiday. And so this is where we need to determine two things. If we want to have two regular meetings, maybe do the 23rd, but we also need to do our budget workshop.
We
So
have
what is
meeting
board-
on budget workshop.
Saturday morning typically, right?
Yeah.
That we could have a meeting then.
Yeah.
If we
Okay,
had
so
that.
are you, is everyone good with February 21st? Are you good with that, Joe? February 21st? Is everyone good with that? Okay, so we'll do February 21st, budget workshop. And if we have any other business, we could always do it at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. And then we'll do March 2nd and 16th.
Yeah.
And we'll do April 6th and 20th. And then we'll do May 4th and 18th. And then, so June 1st is a Monday, the election is the next day, so I don't know, I don't remember what we did this year. Did we have a meeting the night
Yeah.
before?
Yes, we did.
Okay, all right, so June 1st. And June 15th will be our reorg meeting with our new members.
Okay.
Is that all, everyone, is that good with everyone?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to take a vote to approve the dates as presented?
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We have the meeting minutes, December 24th and December 1st.
November 25th.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the meetings for November 24th and December 1st.
I have a second.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion. I vote. The control business. Anything for new business? Joe, you're on.
Okay, so, board has a copy of the report, although there's something I want to add in first, before getting to the report. Back on Monday night, I attended a meeting that, our planner, Rob Lucier, hosted with residents from Lakeview Estates. As the board may be aware, there's a lot of issues associated with infrastructure, drainage that need to be addressed before it can properly go in front of town meeting for action for acceptance. My intent to attend was to learn a little bit more and maybe hear some of the concerns from the neighbors. I was actually really surprised to see we probably had 65 people attend. There was a lot of people. While the residents had expressed a good amount of frustration, everyone was civil, everyone was respectful. Rob was up here on the table, just taking it all in, and I think they all recognize that any sort of frustration geared towards the developer really doesn't belong directed to the town. But there were people that wanted to get their frustrations out and to be heard. I also introduced myself by mistakenly turning on my computer and have a huge chime sound start up. Gave a perfect opportunity to introduce myself. And it is something that town officials are concerned about. It is something that we're aware of. We're trying to meet with the developers to try to find a solution. And we explain that to the residents. And I just want to commend the job that Rob did in facilitating that discussion. Because it's as town officials, we receive a lot of heat, but to invite people to bring the heat, that's, I just want to at least recognize Rob for that. So then sort of getting into the rest of the town administrator report. Looking past the holiday season, my next coffee and conversation will be January 6th. We've been doing a lot of work preparing for the FY27 budget. So not only with staff trainings for the budget software so everything can be input, and we do have some staff that's new, so we're all learning that software. But then also we've been meeting with HR, with Assistant Town Administrator, with Maya and Gallagher, and Harvard Pilgrim and Blue Cross on renewals, projections, not projects, for FY27 for insurance, both health insurance, but also liability, property insurance, workers' comp. Later this week, department budgets are due. And what that sets us up for is the finance director and I to review the request, start to refine things, and town administrator presents a comprehensive draft budget to the board by January 28th. That, per the bylaw, allows for the board to start reviewing that. We set the date for having our Super Saturday budget meeting. And per the town bylaws, select board adopts the budget by February 27th, passes that on to FinCom. I know for all of you, this feels like we just did this, or you just did this. So other things that are going on in town, this was a very busy December 13th for the town of Bellingham. Saturday morning was the Wreaths Across America. So Jen and I joined other veterans and putting wreaths at the 3 monuments in the common. Also, later that morning, Munchkins with Santa was held at the police station. They had over 150 kids show up. I heard it was extremely busy. They had little goodie bags for all the kids, and my understanding is there was very little left over. Also, police chief just wanted to let the board know that approximately 100 tags, they had a gift tree. About 100 tags were taken, and that basically represents a commitment by people who took those tags to get a gift and have it go towards a needy child in Bellingham. They also had a couple successful toy collections at Walmart. That evening, also had the pleasure of joining many town officials, fellow employees, board members as part of the Bellingham Business Association Holiday Celebration Rolling Parade. Many town police, fire vehicles were there. But it was really nice to also see vehicles from Medway and Mendon and other towns and other town officials being there, not only joining us, but then also local officials, local businesses, and even high school students decorating their truck. What I heard was by the time the first trucks were coming through and stopping at the tree, the last vehicle was just turning out of the middle school drive. That's a long parade.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really expecting a lot of people to line the street, but there was a lot of people. It was really nice to see. I've never been a part of that in my many years in municipal government, so it was a lot of fun.
We saved the date for next year.
Great job, John.
The day actually started with a little bit of excitement at 2:58 a.m. Officer Ribeiro and patrolling the Black Zone and Mechanic Street area observed a fire on the second floor of a house at 1 Patrick Street. After notifying the fire department, then proceeded to make sure that the resident was safe and that the house was cleared and brought that person to safety. And Bellingham Fire, along with mutual aid partners, were on the scene as well as covering the station. Like to recognize the work of Officer Ribeiro in the Bellingham Police Department and Fire Department for addressing that fire and their dedication to keeping residents safe. And for those that are still wanting to get their picture taken with Santa, the library, I think, is having one of the last opportunities on Saturday from 10 to noon and on Friday the 19th. There's also story time with Santa from 10:30 to 11.
That was a good Santa at Spartan. That was a very good
Oh.
Santa. Yeah. One of the better Santas I've seen out there. Yeah.
Awesome.
So.
But the Bellingham one up today had Santa muffins with Santa at St. Blaise. Saturday, we had Santa at Pandolphins. I mean, we were full of Santas throughout the town. We were heavy in Santa, but he was here everywhere.
Very nice.
Who's making the toys up at the shop if he's always
His elves.
his elves, buddy?
The allegation.
The team effort.
My God, the dentist. All right. All right, okay, so having fulfilled our agenda, I make a motion, not, to hold executive session and not return to open session pursuant to general law, chapter 38, section 21, A6, to consider purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. The chair declares that an open meeting may have detrimental effect on negotiating positions, in the public body. The property is located on Maple Street. Do I need to do both of these? Okay. And also to hold executive session, not return to open session pursuant to general law, chapter 38, section 21A2, to conduct strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel to conduct, oh my goodness, collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel.
Second time.
Right, we will,
Roll call vote?
we are not coming back. We will be adjourning from the executive session. Roll call vote.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Okay.
A little different.
Can I just use the bathroom for a second?